The Samsung S90D is a beautiful TV. It really doesn't take a genius to figure that out. When you first start up the S90D and you get a hold of the picture that it presents to you, I promise you, you're likely to be blown away. It is that good. So I know a lot of you guys are asking what type of panel is it? And I have checked the panel. It's a QD-OLED. Surprise, surprise. No surprise there for me, honestly. I didn't expect them to use a WOLED with the S90D. And I don't expect that to happen with any sizes except for the 83-inch, the 48-inch, and the 42-inch because those do not have QD-OLED sizes. QD-OLEDs are not manufactured in a 42-inch, 48-inch, or 83-inch size. So those will be a WOLED for the S90D if we happen to get those sizes after all. So just keep that in mind when you're watching this video. If you're buying an 83-inch, a 42-inch, or a 48-inch, this video isn't really relevant to the discussion, and I would recommend you check out like the LG C4 review that I'm planning on doing. That is probably already up if you're watching this during the time where a lot of people buy like Black Friday, for example. Yeah, check out like a WOLED review that I did. That's going to be more accurate to the 83-inch, 42-inch, and 48-inch size. And, you know, a lot of people ask me why I keep going back to recommending them a QD OLED. And it's just because it's just the perfect blend of picture. And this is no mistake doing it again. So it's a lot of what we saw last year with the S90C. And I absolutely love that TV. So I knew that I was going to like this TV. And it didn't take me long to figure out that this is the TV that I'll be recommending a lot to people this year because it's just a beautiful picture. Sure, there's going to be other TVs that I'll recommend too, but this is always going to be amongst the favorites to consider because of the picture quality that you're getting here. Just out of the box, you're getting beautiful colors and a wide range of colors that maybe you didn't experience on other TVs before, depending on what TV you're coming from. I do believe that when you first see this TV, if you haven't had an OLED TV before, you're probably going to be stunned. That's why I am really descriptive when I talk about this TV and QD OLED in general because I don't think there's any TV technology out there that can even come close to competing with QD-OLED, just because it's the perfect combination. WOLED gets close with MLA, but WOLED on its own, it's no match for a QD-OLED. There's multiple like people smarter than me doing tests that can figure this out and show you this on tests. But if you just look at the image by itself, you can see that on your own too. So it's a TV that speaks for itself. One thing that a lot of people were asking about when it comes down to QD-OLED is, why is this so much better than a WOLED? And that question is always being asked, and it's constantly being asked. And the number one reason why it's better than a WOLED is because of the color. The color brightness is just incredible. On a demo like I'm displaying here from Jennifer Gala with a lot of fire, a lot of lava, things like that in the picture, you really can see color brightness at its full potential. And, if the scene calls for it, the scene gets bright enough, it's graded high enough, and it's next to a WOLED, you'll see that the WOLED would fall apart in certain scenes like this. That's not to say it would fall apart in this scene because I don't know how exactly it was graded. But what I'll say is that when you do see pictures like this, it is one to behold. There's a lot to love about the S90D in terms of navigation and UI as well. Everything has just been improved with the S90D as far as the menu system goes, the snappiness of it. It's a quick and fast operating system now. I know like people made jokes about Tizen in the past, and even I did myself. It's just really good now. It's so fast, it's so quick. The UI looks slick, and I really like all the changes that have been made. And it's just really easy to get in and out of stuff now. even just getting to the home screen and navigating through that, it's simple. You just fly through the menus. One thing I noticed about this TV is that the color space settings, when it's set to auto, is going to default to BT 2020, which is the correct way to do it. And so having the TV default into BT 2020 is just great. And on top of that, this TV shows its strength when it is in the BT 2020 color space. And in the past, you would have to switch it by going to custom and then going to BT 2020. But since Samsung didn't really set up BT 2020, it was always looking off. And unless you were a professional calibrator, you couldn't really get the settings to be really good looking in BT 2020. This is something that I really like that they changed because it's been about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years since that was going on where it would just default to P3, and I like it. I like this change. I think that means that Samsung is listening, so props to Samsung engineers for listening to feedback on that and making that change. So as far as comparing it to other TVs, I haven't gone that far into the process yet, but I did look at it next to the S95B a little bit. And for the most part, it's about what I expected in terms of the QD-OLED looking like QD-OLED, and the S95B holds up quite well. So if you have an S95B and you're trying to upgrade to this TV, unless you're jumping up in size, I really don't think it's recommended. And I would say the same thing with any QD-OLED for that matter. It's just not gonna be worth the upgrade to go from a QD-OLED to a QD-OLED, in my opinion, unless you're jumping up in size. So hopefully that clears that up for you. But if you're coming from something like an older WOLED, a C1 or older, I would say that you would be satisfied jumping into a QD-OLED TV. So I think that a lot of people should make that jump if they're ready to upgrade. It is the next logical step if you are an OLED owner. Reviewing other TVs the last couple of days and just having my eyes on things that weren't QD OLEDs really made me appreciate QD OLED. And I'm kind of spoiled in that sense that I get to see some of the best displays in the business. And QD OLED is by far, in my opinion, the best display technology that you can get in a consumer television right now. This is a first impressions review, but what I want to say about this TV is that it's just great. Like, there's not many negative things to say about it. There's not. There's really not. That's the thing. You have to look at a TV as you're reviewing it on its own. I could tell you that the S90C is likely as good as the S90D, but you definitely do not get the improvements that the S90D gets with the snappier UI. Everything just seems to work good, but this is an improvement in some areas. So if you're choosing between the two and the price is close enough, I would get the S90D. But if it's a huge gap, you want to save some money, the S90C is probably fine. Later on in the year, they're going to be very close in price, and maybe even you won't be able to get the S90C. So you're like, why are you talking about the S90C if you're watching this during Black Friday? Yeah, this is going to be a review that kind of like stands the test of time, I believe. It's going to be one of those ones where you look back on and say, yeah, that KG guy was right. QD OLED is fantastic. And the price range that the S90D is sitting in is fantastic. You're talking about being the same price as an LG C4 OLED over the C4. They're both beautiful TVs. They're both great TVs. But if you have the chance to go to a Magnolia Hi-Fi, like a display room or something like that, something that will let you see two TVs side by side where you can actually see the same content being ran on them, like a C4 and an S90D, for example. If you get a chance to see that, then I think that, that'll open your eyes and you'll realize why a lot of people rave about QD OLED the way that they rave about it. The next question a lot of people are going to talk about is what about burn in? And, I've done a burn in video on the LG C1 and I didn't have any issues there. I've had multiple OLED TVs and I've used them as monitors. I haven't seen a hint of burn-in on the modern displays. The only time I've ever seen burn-in was on a C7, and that was because of the red subpixel. and the issue with it, but that's since been fixed. So, yeah, I mean, burn-in, it's one of those things where it's always gonna be in the back of your mind. It's always gonna be a fear, but I say try not to let the fear get to you because you're missing out on beautiful TVs like the QD-OLED TV. I put this next to the LG QNED 90, and the contrast difference was so far away that it wasn't even funny, and the brightness difference was about the same. Like, they're almost the same brightness most of the time, and there was so many scenes where the S90D was actually brighter, and that's just because mini LED can struggle sometimes. They all have their downsides. Every TV technology has its downsides. But I'll take the downsides of barely happening to something I would see every day. So let me know though, what do you guys think? Are you going to end up getting the S90D sometime this year? Or are you going to get the S90C? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your answer on that. And also tell me what TV I should compare this TV against because I'm going to be doing that. That's the next step. And if you guys haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss those comparisons. And of course, I'm going to be posting other 2024 TV reviews, comparisons, and settings for those TVs. And if you guys want to keep watching videos, I think you'll enjoy this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.